You're listening to Southeast Radio's Business Matters, with thanks to Wexford Insurances. Wexford Insurances. More information at wexfordinsurance.com.
Welcome back. I'm joined now by John O'Connor, manager of Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Karl.
Will you start by telling me, what is Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre?
Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre is an organisation that basically fosters enterprise through the provision of supports of mentoring, advice, affordable workspace and training. We have 24 units which houses up to 17 companies at the present time, and they employ over 100 staff. The building itself is 15,000 square foot, and we have 4 training units as well in the building.
How long has Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre been there, John?
The centre was built in 2002. We actually only had 11,000 square foot base up till 3 years ago, and we built an extension there 3 years ago.
How did the Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre come about?
We're alongside the vocational school in Enniscorthy, and Tony Dempsey was the principal of the school at the time. And Tony saw the need to help PLC students, that's post-leaving cert students. So they contacted the Enterprise Board, and the Enterprise Board set up the centre basically as a non-for-profit organisation.
I know that there's over 100 enterprise centres across the country. How many are there in Wexford?
There's 2 enterprise centres in County Wexford. One in Wexford and one in Enniscorthy.
What's your own background?
I did a Chartered Secretary and Administrator in college in Water Institute of Technology. That was a long time ago, in 1984 to 88. I then ended up in sales for many years, and after that then I ended up working as a volunteer out in Uganda in development work, and from that I joined the university out there, a business school, which I set up a small enterprise centre out there. When I came back to Ireland, the job here came up, so it was the ideal job for me at the time.
And how did you end up going to Uganda in the first place?
After I left college, I went into this company, and I was in the company for 12 years. And and this is my own home in Mallow, County Cork. So I realised that if I didn't leave that job, I'd be stuck there for the rest of my life. So I said I'd like to take a year or 2 out before I'd move on to another job. And I always wanted to work as a volunteer in Africa, so it was perfect timing for me. But I ended up staying there 5.5 years.
When you came back, you walked into the job of General Manager of Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre. Tell me a bit about the services provided by the Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre, please, John.
We provide advice and mentoring for people that have a business idea. They might have only a concept, and we try and help them through the concept and help them where to go for funds, how to talk to the banks, how to register their business, how to engage with solicitors and accountants. And that's the first service as they walk in the door. And then the next thing is we provide affordable workspace if they have a service that we could actually house in the centre.
How do you differentiate yourselves from the likes of the enterprise boards and Wexford Local Development?
We're a non-for-profit organisation. We're not a state body. So therefore, we're an independent third-party reference whereby we can give advice to people. As a government body, they have to stay very much within the guidelines of what their remit is. Whereas we're always being entrepreneurial ourselves, looking for new ideas, looking for new ways of doing things. So, I mean, that's a great thing about an enterprise centre. However, we are non-for-profit, and we are non-government funded, so we have to, like any business, we have to make money to survive.
Tell me about somebody, let's say, that is currently a tenant in Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre at the moment that may have walked through the door over the last number of years that was looking for advice.
One great example, Karl, now would be Gordon White. He owns a business called Go Trade. He buys beef from local abattoirs. There's 6 local abattoirs in the southeast. And he sells them to Germany, France, Spain, Scotland. He rang me one day on the 16th of March and said he'd liked our website and would like to rent a space. So I met him on St. Patrick's Day, brought him in, had a look around. It was ideal what he was looking for. He wanted a place that he could have a small office away from home, have a good link with people, be able to talk to people during the day. And he's been with us now for 4.5 years.
And how has the Enterprise Centre assisted him with building his business?
When he came, he was working for another organisation when he was in Liverpool, and he wanted to start this business in Ireland. He saw the opportunity. So ever since myself and Gordon have worked very closely, At the start I was telling him where he should be to do his banking, what different services, because remember he was from Northern Ireland, living in England. He didn't know much about the different facilities and services that the Irish government could provide for him. And just even tax issues that he often came to my office and would actually have a chat about, well, this is what I'd like to do and how could you help me?
So Gordon would have benefited from your local business knowledge more so than anything else, John.
Yeah, I'd say so. And also, like any business person, business is a tough world. It's quite lonely. And I know Gordon is married with a wife and they have 4 kids, so he couldn't go home to his wife with problems, and it'd be nice to meet somebody and talk about his issues and work problems. I find that with a lot of tenants, that what actually happens in work can stay in work because they have different tenants, different friends, different work colleagues that they can share stuff with.
You touched on a very valid point there. Self-employment for those that are in it and working alone can be a very, very lonely place to be. And what you're saying is the Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre can provide additional support to people because of its network of businesses that are operating under the one roof.
Yeah, what I find over the years is businesses invariably start using each other's services, which is fantastic because everybody needs a website developer or graphic designer if they're putting up a website. So therefore, they are housed in the centre, and they might be using in training courses or just even the advice of where do I buy my stationery. That kind of information is alongside you in the next room with another tenant.
At what stage are you finding that business people are approaching you in relation to the services offered by the centre?
People are coming initially now with concepts. Before they go on to the enterprise boards or Wexford Local Development, they come to us and ask us for advice on to fine-tune their business idea. A lot of people with concepts haven't got somebody to talk it through it and would like to tease through the ideas and get somebody else to ask the questions that they can't think of. And that's the ideal, where myself and the potential client will actually sit down, we'll question out what is your idea, who is your exact target market. Sometimes they often go away scratching their head afterwards, but they actually have more research to do after the meeting that I have with them, and they come back 2 or 3 weeks later with a better idea, a better concept of how the business could go.
I know that the centre has 17 tenants at this moment in time. What range of businesses are represented by those tenants?
Wide varieties, from training organisations, software development companies. I mean, specifically an online videoing business, training company, be your assessors. We've got a website developer, graphic designer, coaching services, management coachment. Yeah, so there's a good range.
So there seems to be a very broad range of businesses represented there.
Even people that have gone through, we've unusual ones. We've an archaeologist, a viral marketing business here. At the present time, there's a new guy just started. He's putting an app on phones that you can pay for your parking meters just by walking up to a parking meter, and it pays and prints off parking ticket. Lovely little business idea. It could be huge. We hope it is for the county.
Tell me about some of the recent initiatives that the centre got involved in.
We've got a few new initiatives. One was the link with a South African embassy in Dublin. The South African ambassador with a delegation came down to Enniscorthy 3 weeks ago, and we set up a trade partnership that any business in County Wexford could actually link to a partner in the Johannesburg region. The Irish companies can either buy from or sell to businesses over there. It's a simple little initiative. It's very hard to actually find companies on the internet. You can find companies, but it's a great way to have a reference like ourselves and the South African embassy to match make the different businesses.
And how did that come about, John?
One of our tenants is from Zimbabwe, and he knew the South ambassador very well socially, and he said to me he knew the ambassador, and I said, look, I'd love to talk to him. Could we bring him here? And we spoke on the phone a few times, and we set up this agreement, and he came down and launched it there 3 weeks ago, as I said.
And what are your hopes for that initiative over the next 12 months?
Well, there's a few businesses already in contact with South African businesses. So hopefully all we have is 1 or 2 successes, and I got a feeling we'll have a lot of businesses able to sell to South Africa and maybe purchase. One business here is actually setting up an office in South Africa. which is a great start, because that way then they can sell in South Africa. There's a simple way around it, and they are going to have a reciprocal arrangement with us that we can provide space in the centre for South African business, and they have an enterprise centre similar to ours in Johannesburg that will provide space for one of the companies in the centre.
With those 17 companies that are in Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre at the moment, are any of those companies hiring as we speak?
In part, .X is a new company, just joined. Their head office is in Dublin. They were actually thinking about moving to Enniscorthy. It's a shame they didn't. The main reason why they didn't is we don't have the numbers in County Wexford in software development. They're looking for graduates and experienced software developers. So it's a shame that there is a brain drain. A lot of students go to AIT and Karl Institute of Technology. They do their qualifications and they head off to Dublin because that's where the jobs are. However, both in Wexford Enterprise Centre and in Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre, we both see there is potential of attracting in graduates with software development skills.
So what you're saying is that it's very hard for companies in Wexford to recruit software developers at the moment because they're all moving away to Dublin after they get their qualification to work with the likes of Facebook, LinkedIn and so on.
But if we can create a better cluster around, we might be able to attract these students back and graduates back. They probably even come back with experience, and we hope that from businesses like Google and Yahoo that they can spin off, and these spin-offs can set up in County Wexford. Apart
from the centre itself, you're highly involved with the Enniscorthy Chamber. What's the mood of business people around Enniscorthy like at the moment?
People, as we all know, aren't hiring, and sales are down a lot. However, we must say that in the last 6 months, things have got slightly better, as in they just found there is a bottom. Businesses have found it's going down. The Chamber of Commerce especially, we had lunch there last week. 70 people showed up for it. It was out by a week before. The businesses are trying to network more. They get more involved. They're trying to help each other, which is a great sign. And I think it's the start of the way out of this recession.
John, thank you very much for joining me this morning, and I wish both yourself and Enniscorthy Enterprise Centre every success in the future.
Welcome back to Southeast Radio's Business Matters, with thanks to Wexford Insurances. Wexford Insurances. All your insurance needs dealt with on 0818 31 30 30.